I'm also setting up my camera while I'm doing.
Yeah, no. I had assumed you were live because you were telling a story, and I assumed that Joe telling a story generally means.
Yeah. I mean, thank you for assuming that I don't just wander around my house talking about, I saw at Pinball Expo this machine, and it wasn't quite ready yet.
I mean, I assumed that you weren't going to do that, but, I've been wrong before.
Yeah, you've been wrong before, you've been burned before, and nobody wants to be wrong and burned. That's the worst.
I mean, yeah. We'll get that wire out of the way.
Oh, boy.
So, time zones.
Time zones. How do they work?
Currently, it's 1:30, not 2:30, which is our normal go live time. So
yeah, so it's based. So for those of you not in the know, last year we talked about this. The reason that we start at this time normally is because it's right after I get back from dropping my kid off at school, and then I don't have the opportunity to sit down and fall asleep.
Yeah.
But like if we moved it back an hour to stay on British time consistently, then the next 4 weeks I would probably sleep through this stream somehow.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So anyway,
move in.
Time zones.
Oh boy.
So I was just eating lunch. I've probably eaten that too quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So if I burp, suck it up. It's just how it's gonna go.
Then we know how to blame. We know who to blame. It's time zones. We'll blame the time zones.
We'll blame time zones.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about this. I can't get up your stream because I've had to set up so quickly. I haven't brought a window over to this monitor, and
okay.
all the things will open in the other monitor, so it's fine.
Have you seen the new guest star thing that Twitch is doing? It's too late for us to set it up today, but we can set up each other's streams as an OBS source.
Okay.
Just the video feed.
It's something to consider. Yes. Skulls has resubscribed for 20 months. Thank you very much. Incurious has resubscribed for 7 months. Constant Scorrow has resubscribed for 17 months. I am now incredibly hot and sweaty because I've just had to run around. So... Captain Zemo has cheered biddies. Arterial Red has resubscribed. As with the Mortician streams, the burp could be a signal that generals become too damn scary. Yeah, that was a game. Thank you all for the hype train. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, Joe.
I try. Oh wait, where's my train whistle? Hold on, I literally have it on.
Yay, trains.
Trains, choo-choo.
Oh, chew, indeed chew.
Okay, I'm going to set this up to capture your window too, if I can find it.
Cool beans. I'm just going to pretend I'm functionally a human being right now.
Yeah, I've been playing catch-up all, week? Question mark? Because, yeah, I was traveling a lot last month, and so there's, a bajillion things I'm behind on. And, the first of the month is always, crazy, because it's, that's when I do payroll and a bunch of other stuff. And it's,
Yeah.
And I have to take down all the Halloween decorations. I replace a bunch of the light bulbs in my home for October with orange and red lights. And now I have to go back through and, open every light fixture and replace all the bulbs.
I mean, I get it. It feels excessive, but I'm not American. I don't understand what's excessive when it comes to Halloween.
Well, it's good to have, a sense of... I like for my apartment to have a sense of seasonal change over the course of the year so I don't go mad. It helps me... having visual cues of what time of year it is kind of grounds me. It keeps me connected to the cycles of the earth, So
it feels a bit woo-woo, but okay.
A bit. What is woo-woo short for? Is it short for awooga? Awooga?
No, it's short for woo-woo.
Is it Chinese?
No, it's just a term saying it's a bit esoteric. And hello, kitty.
Okay, I'm gonna look up esoteric because we have a word called esoteric that might be the same.
I think it's the same word, Joe.
Not 100% sure.
You've got cat food on you, and I've just flicked it somewhere, and I don't know where it is. How are you so messy? Oh, there it is. Good,
It
good.
might be the same.
Good cat food. Good cat food. Actually,
Might be
it is
the
very
same
good
word,
cat
but-
food.
Okay.
Otherwise, the other one would vomit.
Yay.
That's how that works. What's kitty? What's kitty?
It's
a kitty
cat,
is another
right?
word for a cat, also known as a feline. Oh, what's Kitty's name? Oh, that was Atlas.
Okay.
She definitely likes cuddles every time I stream with Joe.
Yay.
And every
I
other
just
time,
bring
but
that out in
mostly.
animals.
Huh?
They see me and they're like, animals see me and they're like, I want to be close to someone. Not that guy. But
I want to be
I
close
feel
to someone
safer
I
in someone
trust.
else's arms. It's like, thanks, ow. As I
Thanks.
smack into my ring light.
Animals. How
Okay.
dare you?
Yes. Boy.
So one of the things that I do
um,
before streaming is I feed the cats.
Mhm.
So they don't bug me during the streams. So what they do is after they finish eating, they like to come and cuddle.
Oh,
So,
is it a way of saying thank you, or?
I mean it's just full belly happy kitty, I think.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's inconvenient for me
Oh, I'm sure.
because I don't streaming with a cat is difficult. Main Steve cheered biddies, thank you very much. Lost Cult Game cheered biddies, thank you very much. American Halloween seems so fun over here in Australia. I had my fine. Yeah, I mean Halloween is just a normal day. I think in every other country, more or less. You might be lucky and have somebody who does Halloween in your life, and then you get like parties and stuff. But like for most people, it's just the day where you might have a random stranger knock on your door and demand things.
Well, Americans can be demanding at times.
I've noticed, Joe. I've noticed.
Oh, speaking of things that we have an
Demanding.
opportunity to demand, have you looked at that thing Corellis sent us?
The
He
thing
said
from
something
his
that
company.
Yeah.
Yeah, vaguely.
Did you fill that out?
I haven't, no.
I wasn't going to, because I was just like, I don't really need this. But then I saw that he's got like silent switches for streaming, and I've noticed that my keyboard sounds a lot more in editing lately because of the new mic. So I'm gonna give that a try. But
yeah, well, my only problem with that is I need a number keypad so I can record. Because that's where all my recording keys are.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
That's totally fair. Yeah, what I was actually, and this is the sort of insane person I am. To solve problems like that, I was actually thinking of having kind of I don't know if you've ever seen like musicians with like multiple keyboards, like musical keyboards.
Yes.
I was actually thinking of having something like that set up, where I have my gaming keyboard directly in front of me, and then I have like another keyboard like off to the side for specialized, like the keys that I don't want to hit while I'm in the middle of a recording, or like I have to physically turn my body.
I've been thinking about having like a stream deck or something.
Well, that's the thing, is like I don't necessarily need a stream deck if I've got like just a different keyboard that has a numpad on it off to the side, right?
Yeah, I get that.
So
welcome to Inside Streaming / computing / everything else.
Woo! We do love insides.
I especially am fond of insides as a zombie. Can you draw me a dragon? You can draw whatever you like.
Okay, so I've got here something from Mr. Lance, who I saw at Chicago Pinball Expo, who 3D printed me a mock-up of a pinball machine. Now it is like flat black, and so it's not, I'm not sure how well it's going to show up on the camera here, kind of. But it's basically a kit with like a back box and a cabinet body. It's not exactly the same ratios as I have on my Minecraft thing, but it's close enough that I could print mock-ups of of like decals of what I'm
Cool.
thinking about for the artwork, and like put them on there for like test purposes.
That seems
And
neat.
yeah, so I'm not necessarily going to use that this stream, but it's got like the side rails as well that hold the glass on in real life. What is this piece? Boy, there is a piece here that seems like it does something that I'm. Is this is probably not the lock bar, because the lock bar would be smaller. The lock bar is this. Okay, so we've got.
It is
Maybe
perfectly
yeah,
okay to smile and nod at Joe.
I have 4 legs for this thing. I've got a lockdown bar. And maybe this is some sort of... Oh, this is a topper?
Thank you, Sky9s, for the 8-month resub. On one hand, 8-month woo. On the other, make time stop, please. Oh, I get that. That feeling is universal.
Yay. So anyway, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is a topper. Which doesn't show up at all in camera unless I rotate it sideways.
You remember I said I can't see anything from another stream today?
Oh, that's fine.
You can describe and I can go, ooh, and pretend I see stuff.
Well, so I don't have a mustache anymore. Ooh.
Ooh. Which is good, so, yeah, because mustache on people I find relatively creepy.
I mean, I only kept it for the Gomez Addams costume, really.
I'm
which
aware.
was intended to be ooky, creepy, altogether spooky, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But now that that's passed, it is all gone. I'm glad I saw you liked our photo.
It was really cute.
Yeah. Corinne was really happy with how it turned out. She had a great Halloween.
Excellent. It was very sweet. I liked it.
Yay. Yeah, she had the Minecraft torch as well that like Mojang sent us a few years back.
Oh.
And so by default, she was the leader of the group of 6 children. And it's a good thing too, because one of the kids, every he would go to the door and come back and then look at me and go, "Which way do we go now?" And I'm like, we keep going the same way down the block. Just wait for Corinne.
Just wait for Corinne. She understands directions.
Yeah, and she'd hold the torch and be like, "With me."
I can't remember when I last saw Barefaced Joe. Oh, it's been at least 2 years, I think.
Yeah.
At least.
Oh, I should probably post that picture I'm talking about for the people in the chat who are like, "What?" Okay, do you mind if I post it to your chat too?
Go for it.
Yeah. Okay. So there's our Gomez and Morticia Addams and their daughter Zombie.
Their famous daughter.
Yeah. They also had black and white striped socks at the
go for rainbow. It's
shopping,
cool.
but I was like, the rainbow I feel like it has a good Zombie Cleo vibe, and
I mean, yeah, rainbow is my favorite color.
Yeah. What's your favorite color? A prism.
Well, actually, technically my favorite color is green. But if anybody asks who is like between 4 and 10, my answer is rainbows.
Mm-hmm.
Because for some reason it just makes them smile. So
yeah. So.
Welcome to Cleo as a teacher. You love our bullet journal streams. Good. That's what we're here for.
We try.
It does, like this has helped me keep up with it, like, more than I haven't. Like, I have been more organised this year than I think I ever have been because of these streams.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
I am happy to help.
I am pleased.
Or hinder amusingly.
I mean, it's a little from column A, a little from column B. But it's fine. Because if it wasn't fine, I would stop.
That's not surprising. Cleo does not put up with anybody.
I do not suffer fools gladly. I mean, who does, really? Like, as a statement, who does suffer fools gladly? Except maybe other fools. Oh, it's pretty telling.
Yeah, I
Thank you,
mean, probably
Paleo, for the
con artists.
16-month resub. It's appreciated.
I think con artists suffer fools gladly.
That's true.
Oh, boy.
And a little darker than where I was intending to go with that, but sure.
Oh, man. Speaking of darker, I don't know if you've been over to the hilltop that Impulse told a bunch of the hermits to start building on.
No, I've
No.
not been on for a bit because of, like, personal stuff.
That's fair. Is there anything? Well, we can talk after if there's anything you need, though.
No, I'm all right. I've just got to. I've got plans, and then Ren has tagged me for stuff. And yeah. So I've got to finish off this little story arc that we're doing currently, and then get Ren to do things. So.
Gotcha. Well, if you need any like blocks or anything just to like move stuff along, I've got a community storage area. You know that HHH depot we were always talking about building?
Oh, you did it! Hooray!
Yeah, I was gonna do it on Monday with you, but you were gone, and so
sorry, it was Halloween. I had to do my obligatory spooky stream.
No, that's fair. That's fair. It's not as good as or pretty as maybe we would have done it together, but it does exist, and it has blocks for you if you need them.
Thank you, Joe. It's appreciated. The only thing I really am going to need at some point is stone, because I'm going to need a lot of armor stands. Because Ren has gone, hey, you know what you're really good at? I'm like, okay.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. The FPS on their server is going to tank immediately.
So, what I was gonna say is, somebody built a sheep paddock. Is a paddock fenced in, or is that an open field?
A paddock, I think, is fenced, yeah.
Okay, so it's a fenced-in sheep paddock. And somebody else came through the nether in a portal at coordinates that corresponded with that paddock.
Right.
Which then dumped all the sheep onto the nether roof. And
of course,
because it's like a tiny, like 6x9 or whatever thing with like 100 sheep in it. So anyway, we're trying to fix this or something, and I make some sort of comment to Asuma about like, if we do, maybe we should do this so we don't, because this other thing could go wrong if we don't route around it, if we don't prepare for it. And he says to me, Joe, when you worry, you suffer twice. And
X is becoming too philosophical of late, and I don't like it. It's creepy.
I thought about that for about a half second. I'm like, no, X, I suffer constantly. It's like, all I do is worry. Like, so I've been thinking about that the last few days. I'm trying to figure out better ways to like delegate and offload.
Is X okay? X, I think, is a lot better than he's been in a long time, to be honest. So I think X is just like has found some inner peace somehow.
Yeah. Eklund says, I wonder where he gets that stuff. I would assume a calendar, one of those like quote of the day type paper calendars where you tear it off with the adhesive.
He does seem like the sort, yes.
Yeah, where he'd see that and be like, that reminds me of Joe. I'm gonna tell him that next time I see him.
I'm gonna hold that in my pocket, and whenever the need arises, that's gonna be my go-to state.
Yeah.
Of all the hermits, X is an enigma, I think.
Yeah. I'm trying not to wander off, but I need to reach the other color pencils.
Wander, it's fine.
Okay.
It's fine. Mini Cheese Mouse has resubscribed for 20 months. 20, that's double 10. That's many lots. It is, in fact, a score. It feels weird that I've been doing this for 20 months.
Hashtag score.
X seems like he's in a whole new level of shishwaminess. He really seems like he's at peace now. I think he's very chill. Like like he said he did a whole thing about leadership, and X has taken a massive back seat recently, and I think that's helped. I think that's helped his peace of mind.
Well, because like there's this thing where it's like you can only be so responsible for the happiness of others, you
Yeah,
know? And
exactly.
like, oh, boy, I have no idea where these color pencils. Like, I moved. I've got like one of my trays of color pencils, but like a bunch of stuff got moved around the studio.
Yeah, no. Winnie
I
has
don't think it was
resubscribed for
actually
20 months. Thank you very much indeed.
okay. Well, with the colors I do, this
With
is
the
not
colours
going to
that
be
you
a.
do have, you're going to
With the
do a
colors I
thing.
do have, which was a few blues, a purple. Yeah. What can I do with that? Let's just play with them.
X is an enigma wrapped in a scream mask wielding a guitar. Like,
Jumpy
X
Jasmine
has so... Sorry, go on.
Jumpy Jasmine says he dumped all the hermits onto Fwip and is chilling. Not my problem.
Arguably, we've kind of collectivized the running of Hermitcraft at this point. Like not the server maintenance, that's all still X, but with like everything else, we're kind of like all together now. So there is no need for but yeah, I think not dealing with every single complaint and problem has helped, believe it or not.
Yeah, I'm trying to route more of that stuff through my staff now, and I'm realizing that one of the problems with me not having time to deal with everything is I also haven't had time to like necessarily create good processes for my staff. So I apologize to anybody who's out there listening if you feel like I'm just like, please go deal with this. And you're like, preening? Yeah, that's on me. I'm...
Call of the Ocean resubscribe for 4 months. Thank you very much. No, I get that. Like, I mean, I don't have stuff. I mean, Ren talked to me the other day. So we can get our build teams doing stuff, and I'm like, I don't have a build team. And I'm like,
no, that's just me.
He was like, oh, I have a build team.
Well, Ren, good luck to your build team.
It's okay. We're going to be relying on them as well. But I don't think it occurred to me that hermits have like actual build teams properly until that moment.
Yeah.
So don't get me wrong, I can't afford a build team. So
no, that's part of it. But that's, to me, that's the last sort of thing I want to offload.
Yeah, no, that's the creative part. I don't. Yeah. I want my builds to be like me. A bit weird and scattered.
Because, like, for me, it's like, okay, I set aside time to deal with certain classes of problems. But sometimes people are like, hey, this needs to be addressed sooner. And I'm like, well, the problem is I need to protect my time and deal with that at the time I allocated, right?
Right.
So, like, now I need to, like, tell my staff, like, okay, y'all, figure out what needs to be escalated and what doesn't. But there's no rubrics for any of this. There's no...
Yeah.
But like if I had time to create that rubric, I also would have had time to maybe solve that particular problem. You know what I mean? So it's like, so I've got to figure that out. But I also have to figure out like 800 other things with like, we're trying to get this immigration, marriage license, all that process going.
Yeah.
And like that absolutely needs to start as soon as possible. Right. And so I'm just like, every minute that I spend like on other stuff, I'm not spending.
If it's anything like ours, it's because I've looked into ours, and it's a problem.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. Yes.
I'm like having to write to the county I was born in. Like there's like, I've got like in my task queue for today, find the stamps and envelopes, because I haven't actually had to mail anything with a stamp for like since I moved. And I know I have like I have like a $30 book of stamps somewhere, and I don't want to go buy more stamps.
Fair.
I also have a box of envelopes somewhere. I don't want to go buy more envelopes. But like,
yeah,
it's
like I'm not looking forward to having to do that sort of stuff, because it's gonna be not fun.
It's I think it's the sort of thing that it's worth doing, but it's a lot.
It's a
It's more
lot.
work than it should be. I'm a big fan of having borders that are as open as possible.
Oh, same. It would
And
make
that's
my
not something like, oh, once you started dating someone from another country, you changed your mind on that. It's like,
Oh no.
no.
I've always been. I don't. Just come in. It's fine. What are they gonna do? Live here? Oh no.
Yeah.
More people for those jobs you say that nobody wants.
Yeah, I know.
Not that they should be forced to do jobs nobody wants. Just want to make that clear.
People should have the option to do jobs in other countries.
They should.
Okay, so
Because one of the
one of
things,
my
it's sort of like
theories. Oh, go on.
I was thinking like even if you were to do a fiance visa in this country, they're not allowed to work. Like, and you have to be able to support them. So that's
Wait,
why
I'm not allowed to work if I did a fiance visa for England?
pretty much, yeah.
See, I haven't looked into that much because
It's until you like between the fiance part. So when you come over and between the time you get married, once you've done that, you cannot work. You have to be supported by your spouse. And it's different for a family visa. I would like to point that out. So if you're already married, that's like, you know, getting married in the US and then coming over will sort out most of your problems. You don't have to do the, are you really in this relationship or are you just faking? You don't have to do that interview.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
it's...
good.
Yeah, it's the easier way to come over. So, you know.
Yeah. Well, and so we haven't looked into that because with the custody situation, it's not really feasible for me to go over there.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Or at least not first. Like, we would hopefully ultimately end up in Scotland after Corinne goes to college. But, yeah, I just... it's going to be a whole thing because, like, that's part of it, too, is I'm like, okay, so with my YouTube business, depending on how successful it is, it'll either be trivial to move it because it's like, okay, well, I make plenty of money, so I can prove to them, like, if 10 years from now, I want to move to Scotland, right?
Yeah.
Okay. If the YouTube business is at a certain point where I can be like, look, I make all this money, let me move to your country, I'll continue to be self-employed.
I mean, that won't even come into it because you would be married to a citizen.
Okay.
So at best, you would need to get an accountant to go to start doing things. You would just have to apply for indefinite leave to remain.
Okay, but I would still have to like start paying British taxes and a bunch of other stuff, right?
Yeah, but you
obviously.
would also have to pay American taxes at the same time.
Well, here's where things get fun. Is one of the things I'm trying to figure out is like, okay, how if I scale up the business too much, right? Like if I do a bunch of like, okay, I've got a warehouse that I'm shipping merch out of and stuff in Nashville. Then do I leave somebody, whoever's managing that day to day, in charge of the warehouse in Nashville when I move to Scotland, and then I spin up a second Scottish-based merch operation in the UK, or
assuming Scotland is part of the UK, yeah,
or Free Scotland or whatever it's called. That's the other thing though, is I'm not 100%. One of the reasons I'm worried about income and stuff with that migration thing is if Scotland's already independent,
you'd have to go to the UK.
Well, we don't necessarily want to. We're not looking to move
aware.
back to London. Yeah.
I'm aware.
So at that point, if I'm applying for like, I don't know what you would call it, like a legacy citizen or a legacy migration, like where like, oh hey, my grandmother was Scottish, let me move here, please.
I'm not convinced that's a thing, to be honest.
I don't. Well, no, but some countries do have a kind of. It's not necessarily the same thing as right of return, but it's like along those lines where if you can trace your lineage to the country, they'll prioritize you in the immigration queue. Not necessarily guarantee you a spot, but they'll you clear a few low hurdle.
You have to apply for the yeah, no, don't worry, guys. I have looked into all of this. Don't worry. I'm aware of what the fiancé visa requires and where if people need to apply. I mean, like honestly, my brain is going. This would be so much easier if I just got married in the US and then applied for a family visa.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you need suggestions about good venues in the Nashville area, I'm doing a ton of research.
Nor my other half, one, are engaged yet.
Okay.
Two are very big on weddings in the first place.
Well,
we are perfectly happy just going, shall we go to Vegas?
So, yeah, I get that. On one level, I kind of get that vibe, but like my last marriage, you know, we planned 3 separate weddings because it kept getting canceled by my in-laws, and by the time we got to the end of it, the one we actually were able to afford ourselves and just kind of sent the in-laws like an invite saying, you can show up if you want, type of invite, type of thing. Like, we didn't have room for, like, only one of my friends was there. Like, we had like it was like a tiny chapel with like my parents, her parents, and like 3 other people. It was.
And you want to do a wedding? Is that what you're saying to me?
Well, I'd like to at least maybe have groomsmen this time. Like all of my friends who didn't get to go to the last wedding because there literally was not standing room. Right?
Yeah,
it'd be nice to it'd be nice to have something there. But the other thing is from the US process coming over here with the fiancé visa. One of the things they want is evidence of you planning a wedding to show that it's not just a sham marriage or whatever.
Oh,
so I need to actually have emails with venues and stuff saying, hi, could I get a price on, you know, we're looking for something potentially in mid to late 2023, early 2024 at the latest. What times of year are more affordable, blah, blah, blah. So that's the other thing is I've got like a bajillion things like that I need to get moving. But like, and it's not necessarily like, oh, I'm so vain. It's like, oh, I have to have a huge wedding to show off to everybody how great I am at throwing parties. But like,
oh no,
I was disappointed that my friends weren't there last time, and I knew that's
valid.
Because sometimes I go into stuff like that, and I'm like, this is gonna suck, but you know, it's I'm sure it's fine. And then I do it, and I'm like, no, this actually sucked more than I thought it was gonna suck. I should have figured out a better way to make this work, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I understand. I mean, like I say, I'm not really into like the marriage aspect of like be like that. That's not the thing that like. It's not the thing I care about, you know. It's the being in the relationship, and it's the I just want my other half to be with me, and the fact that it's because we're in different countries is the pain in the arse. I don't really care about weddings or anything. The only reason why I'm considering it is to get him over here.
Yeah,
you know,
the fact that there's no way for us to live near each other without getting married is incredibly frustrating.
Oh, I've missed a whole bunch. Hi, Cam.
Hey.
Mathematical Jackal has resubscribed for 8 months. McLeslie's cheered 400 biddies. Thank you very much. Sliding Architecture has resubscribed for 14 months. Hey, Cleo, I hope you're well and I wish you a great month. Thank you very much. Cam has resubscribed for 20 months and says 2 full years. Like, it was a joke, Cam. Paleo cheered biddies. Izzo has resubscribed for 2 months. Thank you very much indeed. A piece of expensive official paper doesn't change the relationship. Exactly. So,
well, like, living in the same country does.
Living in the same country absolutely does. It does make a difference. So, the fact that the only way to get them to live in the same country with me is this way is the bit I don't like.
Yeah. Well,
it was a joke. Cam, I do understand how many months are in a year. Oh, dear. Early stream. I didn't expect this for another half an hour. Neither did I.
Yay, we did it.
The only reason why I'm here is whilst I sat down for lunch, Joe says, "Hi, I'm here at your convenience." And I was just like, oh, no.
Time
no.
zones.
I know. And then it was just like, okay, well, time zones then. Let's go. So I'm here. I'm still kind of hot and... Radiator's not on. I'm still kind of hot and sweaty. So... Because I've been running around.
Oh, no.
I
Real
know.
quick, let me thank Brandon for tipping 40. Woo! We're going to go ahead and rotate that camera 40 degrees angular. We are doing rotational tips today during the craft stream.
Yeah, we're in the weird bit of time where some clocks have shifted and others haven't.
Yeah. Which is actually kind of convenient for Lauren and I, or Badger Spanner and I, because when we're, or at least once she gets back to England, we'll only be 5 hours apart instead of 6. Which is nice.
Yeah. I mean, me and Cam don't really have any sense of like going to bed at a reasonable hour, so it really makes no difference.
Yeah, I gotta get my kid to school in the morning is the thing.
Oh yeah, no, I understand. It's just like time zones really don't have an effect. Was this because they got rid of daylight saving times? They haven't yet. I think that's next year, isn't it? Or the year after?
We'll see. We'll all see.
We'll all see.
Welcome back, NJ. I hope your dentist visit went well.
Next year is permanent daylight savings time. UK is gridding... No. It's America. We're not getting rid of anything. I'm not entirely sure why we still have it. Because we don't have a huge, like, farming industry anymore. We still have a farming industry, but not a huge one. We're just like 2 weeks ahead of the US. It's always been... It's so annoying. Because we had it in the war and those were the good times. Not convinced by that, but sure.
Good times. Woo.
There's not... I just heard it was not letting children go into... I mean, that's the reason they've used for keeping it. But I'm sure that there is like a monetary reason to get rid of it at some point.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it costs a ton of computer time. Or developer time for dealing with all the tech problems it creates.
Why do I have this idea that DST was a wartime energy saving thing?
Sounds like propaganda to me.
It does sound a bit propaganda, yeah.
Everybody do the propaganda.
Don't do the propaganda. It doesn't work for anyone. Scottish children walking to school in the very dark during December is mostly why it stays. Thank you for the bits, Mini Cheese Mouse. Yeah, I understand that. But then just keep it at that, you know, the lighter time all the time. You know, it's kind of like, I mean, I see that, but just do the smart thing. Why do I have the feeling does handmade birthday Christmas cards? I might be wrong. You are wrong. Cleo doesn't do any kind of Christmas cards.
Mahi Zero says, for my sister's first wedding, she did the big church, etc. For the second, they rented an outdoor venue, so there was plenty of room, and it was much cheaper. Yeah, so the problem is outdoor venue, when we don't know what time of year we're going to get our paperwork approved in, means, like, Nashville outdoor venues can be kind of rough in summer.
I've heard stories about this.
Yeah. So that's like a whole separate thing.
People in Germany voted to get rid of DST since at least 10 years, over and over again. It's still a thing. Bleh. I am very tired.
I know it's very tired. I'm dead.
I'm just thinking, my dad would never make that joke.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I might have told you this, but yeah, the other day, picked my daughter up from school, and she's like, "I'm hungry and thirsty," and I go, "Oh, I'm sorry, thirsty. I didn't see you there behind hungry."
Oh.
She's like, "I hate that joke structure," and I'm like, "No, this is a slightly different one," because she hates the "Hi, hungry, I'm dad." She's like, "That's not an acceptable joke."
It's not even a joke. Oh dear. Okay, August. For those of you who don't know, I'm planning out next year's journal. I've done a little savings challenge. I'm doing a monthly plan, and I think I've got stuff over here. Oh, it's the yearly calendar, which is basically this page in a different colour. No, it's not. It's the numbers. That's the actual numbers. I had to call in, like, my bins hadn't been collected.
Yeah.
And I can hear them coming around now. And I hate to be the person that calls it in, but it's been 5 days and they've not been collected.
Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean you called it in? Like, they don't just come by and pick up your trash?
They should do. They didn't.
Yeah. But, like, if they don't, there's, like, somebody to call?
There's a website, yeah. You can call as well, but there's a website.
Oh, man, we don't have that. At least, or I don't think so. I think you just don't, if your trash doesn't get collected, you just wait. That's really neat.
I don't know what to say to that.
Well, I mean, what? Or people would, like, call up their, like, city councilman or whatever, or be like, "Hey, what the heck? The trash people aren't coming by anymore." But, like, I don't think you can call the trash people.
Cam says he's had to do it. You just call utilities.
Huh. Well, maybe this is the sort of thing the landlord has a phone number for them on.
I mean, I'm sure you can look it up.
Yeah, but, like, I don't know if they would talk to me. Because I'm not paying them, you right? If they're paid out of, like, city taxes.
Yeah, but surely you're still a citizen.
Yeah. But, okay, being a citizen doesn't mean I'm their customer. The landlord is their customer. You see what I mean?
I understand what you're saying, yes.
I think I would have to call my landlord and have them...
It depends on the US municipality. Most places you call town hall or something.
Oh. Does the city control trash services in Nashville, says Brianna Horton? Some of them. That's the other thing, is some of the places I've lived, they've got, like, a dumpster, and there's, like, an outside provider that empties the dumpster. And if the dumpster doesn't get emptied, the dumpster doesn't get emptied. There's nobody to call. You just keep throwing stuff on top of the dumpster till it's twice as full of trash. What do you do? Like, landlord... If the landlord was going to do something, they would have done something.
What gets me is when I was filling out that form, and it's sort of like... it's sort of like, if we can tell that your bin hasn't been emptied by our records, and I'm like, surely you were on the record as having my bins emptied. Like, it wasn't just me. None of my neighbours got emptied either.
Uh-huh.
So it was just sort of like, if we can tell from our records that your street has been done, you're just going to have to wait.
Mm-hmm.
It took you 45 seconds to look up the number that Joe would call. Apparently you have a number, Joe, that you could call.
Okay, but once again, though, if my landlord isn't necessarily using the city for the dumpster emptying and stuff.
That's true. That's true.
That's what...
Maybe you should just ask your landlord what the number is if it's not called, so he doesn't have to do it.
Oh, so usually what happens is the dumpster would fill up, and the landlord would say, "I know the dumpster's full, stop putting trash in it." And everybody go,
"That's not my problem. I pay for a service."
I didn't see this email. Yeah, you... So the landlord knows.
And it's sort of like, Do you know whose problem that isn't? Mine.
Yeah, it's like, look, if the company charges you extra if the dumpster is overflowing, you hire people, you rent a second dumpster, or you hire people to haul off the excess. Like, that is part of what you are providing as a baseline
If it's because of their own ineptitude that it is full up, I'm pretty sure you could argue that one.
Well, that's the thing, is it is. It's because for some reason, like, I'm assuming if the dumpster isn't being emptied by the waste management company, the landlord probably screwed something up.
Yes. At which point, still not your problem.
Yeah.
Don't worry about being late, Anna. You are not obligated to be here. 2, it's Joe's fault.
Okay, several people have come in apologizing for not being here.
It's weird. Don't worry. You're not obligated.
Okay. I would like to think I'm not, but now I'm worried. Should I be apologizing? It's like, oh boy.
No. You shouldn't be apologizing, because arguably it's also my fault. But I'm blaming you because it's easier for me.
Thanks. Yeah, so Cleo can't see what I'm drawing, and nobody's really commenting on it. So that means maybe nobody actually watches my camera anymore. There was one person who made a oblique comment, but I don't think they know what I'm drawing. I'm just background noise. Got it. Okay.
Oh, you're not background noise. You're very incisive background noise. Yay! Okay, let's do the yearly calendar. Oh, I hate doing this bit. Okay. At least this year I didn't move the clock the wrong way. I did that in my car.
Oh no.
Which confused me yesterday. I'm just like, why am I really late?
Okay.
The internet control clocks is just so nice.
So, Demented MK says something coming through the rift. Medea Star says, I just figured it was explained before I joined. Dino Danny says, I was waiting to see it come together. Emily W. And a few other people are like, is it Barney coming through the rift? So, Cleo, I don't know if you had Barney the dinosaur in the UK.
I am aware of Barney the dinosaur, but we didn't have it.
So, he's purple and the rift is purple. So one of my theories for why the rift is closed is that the rift is Barney the dinosaur. And
right.
I'm not sure if the lore is gonna support that theory or not. We'll have to see how this all breaks. But I haven't been proven wrong yet.
And that is the first step in being proven right.
Exactly. The Spherold says, I was mildly concerned about the drawing, so I decided not to comment. It is the theory that I explained to Cub. Cub fan did not have any comments on this theory. He was just kind of like,
He was just like, this is Joe, we just have to deal with this.
Yeah.
Which I get.
Yeah.
Jen must have a way between the servers that isn't the rift. Do you know why you just don't just ask her? I haven't seen Jen, to be honest, since the rift opened. I haven't seen many people since the rift opened.
Yeah. Oh, do you know William Riker?
I know of the character.
Yeah. You know how there's also a Thomas Riker?
Vaguely. Name's familiar.
Yeah, I think I should have probably Thomas Rikered myself when I went through the rift. So basically there was an emergency on some planet like 16 years ago in Next Generation when Riker was like an ensign. And
right.
he transported back in a storm, and basically the transporter cloned him. And the clone was left on the planet trying to survive for 16 years in this like remote Arctic outpost thing, right?
Oof.
Yeah, not ideal.
No.
But nobody knew he was missing because he was also on the ship doing Starfleet stuff for the next 16 years, right?
Right.
I realized that what I probably should have done with the Rift is had a version of me stay behind and work on the pinball machine. Yeah.
Yeah, but then you have to kill your clone self when you come back, and that's going to be an editing nightmare.
I mean, honestly, though, well, I mean, William Riker or Thomas Riker just got reinstated with a Starfleet commission or whatever, and like sent to work on a different ship, so it wouldn't be awkward. But like, so in theory, the extra version of me or whatever that didn't come back to Hermitcraft, or the extra version of me could like possibly go somewhere else, and I could spin off a whole like dimension hopping, like, hey, can I join your SMP for 6 weeks type of thing. But I didn't think this through.
Yeah, no, maybe not. X and Wells have managed to permanently exile their clones, evil as they may be, so it's always an option. Yeah, I suppose that's true.
Oh, you know what? This is the justification for creating a second channel. Because
yeah.
Joe Hill's clone. You know, I mean, there's a good chance. There's a non-zero chance. There is a non-zero chance that Barney the dinosaur will reopen the rift at some point. And if I step through it again, we can always come back to this idea.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, found my sharpener. It's not too late. It's never too late. It's just awkward. I actually missed season 6 Human Cleo. Well, there's plenty of those out there. Trust me, there's plenty. Clone Hills. Ah, dear. It started. Let's go for blues. I've got some of these new little things that I could put in here. Maybe the lights.
Yeah, I'll see. Quirky says, I went to an outdoor wedding in Michigan this summer. In Michigan. Michigan's very far north, for those of y'all that don't know American geography. And it was still brutal for the ceremony. Mahi Zero says that his sister did outdoors in Texas this summer, but it was during COVID, so the outdoor thing was a kind of a big plus.
A purple dinosaur has nothing to do with Hermitcraft. You'd be surprised what has nothing to do with Hermitcraft until it has something to do with Hermitcraft. I think this whole arc is an example of that. That tape is so cute. I think it is as well. I think I've got like a lot of... I have a bit of washi tape. Like a smidge. So it's always nice to find like cute ones that I don't own. I need to come up with a better storage system though. I was at Costco the other day and I saw this like little cabinet thing and I was like, that could work until I run out of space.
It almost seems like you can make something kind of like an abacus with like a bunch of rods that hook in or are on hinges or something like that, and you just have this huge like ladder of parallel dowels, and you just slide the tape onto the dowels or whatever.
Yeah, that feels awkward.
So that way they're all on display for your. So that way, as a quick visual reference, like because it was kind of this sort of thing where it's like out of sight, out of mind. But if you can see all of them at once and you've got them organized somehow. So, like, one dowel might be all holiday stuff. You can take that down and put it on the camera. And
getting them off the dowel would be a pain. That I have considered that sort of thing. And that is the reason that I've done for not implementing that sort of thing. I could absolutely do it, but there is no guarantee. I will point out that Streamloots cards are on, but working with Hermit rules still apply.
Yay.
I just thought I'd say that because I just heard one go off.
MJ says, I might have missed the original joke, but I feel like Joe could have a second channel where he has a totally different personality. Maybe.
I don't think Joe can have a totally different personality.
Yeah, they're all just me.
They are.
I was talking to this, I was dressed as Beetlejuice. So it started raining on Halloween, right?
Right.
And so I ended up with my Gomez Adams like suit soaked, and it's like an actual like suit. So I was like, I'm hanging this up to dry. I ran luckily because we were treating in the neighborhood. I was stopped at our house and our apartment or whatever and changed, and like so I switched over to my Beetlejuice suit, and so at one point Badger is talking to this old lady. And I start talking, or I jump into the conversation, but I'm talking like this because I'm Beetlejuice or whatever,
Yeah.
Badger keeps laughing. I'm like, what? I didn't say anything funny there. And she's like, no, it's the voice. And the old lady's like, oh, do you do a lot of voices or something? And I'm like, no, not too many. I am sometimes recognizable by my Boston accent, but on the whole, it's mostly just this, that sort of thing. And the old lady's like, oh, are you from Boston? And we're like, no, this is an affectation. This is intended to be humorous and not actually my origin story. Anyway, so I managed to convince an old lady that I was from Boston without trying.
With that Boston accent.
Although, she's from Nashville, so maybe that's just very plausible for what people from Boston sound like. Okay. Snuffles just tipped 10, who says, just wanted to tip 5, but Jeff Hills needs some for the second channel as well. That puts us 10 degrees angular further along. So the thing is, if I was going to do the William Riker thing, so the main character's name is William T. Riker, William Thomas Riker. So his clone takes the middle name as the first name. So it would probably... So if I'm Joseph Benedict Hills, then the second channel would be like Benedict Hills or Ben Hills or something.
I mean,
Benny
valid.
Hills.
Valid.
I guess Benny Hills is where the joke is.
No. No, that's not a joke.
Benny Hills is not a joke. Benny Hills is...
Benny Hills is just awful.
Thanks, Cleo.
No, I mean the show.
Oh, okay. So remember when I had, I did all of those swatches so I would know, like, which color to use? I'm looking at these, like, 10 grays here, and I'm like, I don't know which of these grays is going to be good for this cave wall.
Well done.
Luckily, I've got swatches. Woo!
Yay! There we go.
Okay. 1060 looks like the one.
So, my chat, just out of curiosity, how do you feel about another mortuary assistant stream?
Did you enjoy it, the first one, Cleo?
I did. I screamed a lot. And I find it's a really interesting game. I think I've managed to avoid like 100% of the story in my playthrough.
How?
Because it's procedurally generated.
Uh-huh.
And depending on what scares you, what scares you get just depends on how you're playing the game. But also what story pieces show up depends on items that you're carrying and stuff.
So, like, when you say items that you're carrying, is it like, hey, what do you want to bring from your apartment? Do you bring your iPod or
apparently.
your Walkman?
Well, there's like what do you call it? Like, apparently in the apartment somewhere, there's your dad's necklace, your dad's crucifix, and there are coins that you get from like AA, like sobriety coins and stuff. And I've looked a little bit online, and I've missed, like, did you know, chat, we were able to go outside and down into the basement? I didn't know that. And I'm like, this game terrified me, but I kind of like that as a rule. And I'm kind of intrigued by the story. It's a really interesting game, and like I've listened to the developer, and the developer's saying like there's going to be an embalming only mode, and I don't know how that would be, and I kind of want him to do the day shift where it's the other guy dealing with things, and it's I'm very intrigued by this game.
So is he adding a day shift? Is that what?
Oh no, I think that's primarily what I would like him to do, because a day shift feels like it would be. A day shift feels like it would be interesting, you know. It would because there's this guy in the thing who is also being plagued by demons, but he runs the day shift, and he's the one that's telling you how to do things.
So the demons show up during the day too.
I would imagine so. But yeah, I kind of want to.
They don't just leave like while you were out cards.
No.
Like, while you were out, I replaced all the water in the sink with blood. It's water again. But just so you know, I did that.
Like, the creepiest thing that I found, I've seen a couple of the jump scares on other people's playthroughs after I watched it. And it was just sort of like, the creepiest jump scares is just this demon who is basically the same colour as the walls is just sitting on top of file cabinets watching you, or sitting above the door watching you, or down in a corner just watching you. And you can see it in these other people's videos where they're just going, la 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 la, embalming a corpse. And then he's there in their vision this whole time. And then they see him, and that is the scariest part for me. Because it's just like, he's been there this whole time.
Yeah.
Every step you take, every move you make, he'll be watching you. That demon was in yours, was it?
Well, that's the thing.
You missed it once. Oh.
Well, apparently the warden was in my stream the other night. I didn't see him. But somebody was like, I saw the warden! And so I went back and I looked at the footage. And in like 1 or 2 frames, like the warden was actually like directly next to me. And I had no idea.
Oh, well, apparently, like, chat was laughing because I didn't notice. Well, you see, that's the point I'm making. But I'm really intrigued by this game. And, like, I don't really do that with a lot of games. Particularly not horror games, because I am a big old fraidy cat. But, yeah, no, this one's really piqued my attention. I've also got, I've got to play another horror game at some point. So, because it's gonna be a thing. Okay. Let's start.
I Collect Games says, my wife hates it when I sit on top of the filing cabinet and stare at her. I mean, if you know she hates it, then maybe don't do it. Like, I mean, and I'm not here to tell you how to run your marriage, but, like, if she's communicated something like that to you, she probably expects you to change your behavior.
Possibly. But yeah, no, this game has piqued my interest, to say the least. Spooky Vember, let's go. Chat be like, Cleo getting traumatized and scares is funny. I wasn't traumatized. I was scared, but I like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole point of horror movies for me.
Oh, speaking of which, Sean recommended this horror movie called Barbarian to Lauren and I, and we were told to go in blind. Sean was like, if you need to know anything about it, it's made by Zach Kreger, who he is a comedian from the sketch comedy group called The Whitest Kids You Know. I don't know if you ever saw the sketch comedy the comedy sketch A Gallon of PCP, but he did that one. And,
I've not heard of that one.
It's kind of a terrifying comedy sketch. But yeah, if you YouTube Gallon of PCP, there's only really one thing with that title. Because most people don't buy a gallon PCP.
No, I wouldn't imagine that they do.
But anyway, so Sean's like, you gotta check out this horror movie. Don't Google it. Just trust me. This is legitimately good. I'm not punking you. This is not me like, haha, this was actually terrible. It's not an ironic recommendation.
I've heard about it.
Yeah, it's called Barbarian. It is absolutely fantastic. We watched it last week. Strongly recommend it. So
I'll put it on the list. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of just watching movies times.
No, I don't have a ton of it either.
But it was on the list anyway, so good.
Bump it up if you can, because it's worth it.
Okay, we'll do.
And it's worth going into blind, and so stuff like that's better to go into blind. You want to see it before other people like start talking about it on Twitter, whatever. You know what I mean?
I'm not really in the circles of people talking about horror movies on Twitter, to be honest.
Okay. That's fair.
But point taken. Comedians are unfairly good at horror. I think a lot of that is because a lot of comedians have some form of mental illness. And the way they cope with that is by making other people feel good. Usually it's depression. So I can imagine why they would be good at horror movies. Maybe make a page with all the hermits interacting with the numbers, like turning into zombie colours and redstone. I do not have the personal capability to do that. I am not that skilled.
Let's see. Gina asks, is it a gory movie? It is a horror movie. If you don't like gore, you probably want to avoid the entire genre.
Yeah. I mean, I understand if you don't like gore. That's fine.
That's 100% fine. I'm just saying, like, it's
horror movies do have like there are very few that have zero gore. But I do enjoy those as well.
I'm trying to think like what the least gory horror movie would be, and that I would still consider horror. Arguably, Ernest Scared Stupid is like the scariest movie you could show a kid, because like even though the main character Ernest is a complete buffoon, the monster is legitimately terrifying, and Eartha Kitt is fantastic in it as well. And so there's a lot of elements of it that are like,
I mean, the one that the one that I found, which is a psychological, I wouldn't even call it horror.
Yeah.
It's more an existential kind of dread kind of thing. Is called The Circle. It was on Netflix for a good long time. Which is basically a whole group of people wake up and find themselves in a circle. And if they move out of their circle, they get zapped and they die. There's no gore in that. They just die. And they realise they're having to choose who is the next person who dies. And it's all about the psychological impact of that and, you know, playing the game and that sort of thing. So I know the movie she's talking about. That movie is messed up. It is messed up. It's incredibly messed up. But it's all about what would you do if there was one shot of you living and that's everyone else dying. It's like, what would you do in that situation? So it's an interesting, like I say, it's more psychological than it is than anything. It was one of those things that I watched on Netflix that like didn't have good ratings, but I was kind of enthralled by it. What's the other one?
I should write these down. So you said The Circle.
The Circle, yeah. The other one that I watched, I can't remember the name of it, but it was basically they had to take an exam. There was a bit of gore in this one, but not much. To get a really high-paying job, and it was, I can't remember what it was, and it was basically enforced. Like once you said you were going to take the test, you couldn't leave, and you would get shot if you did. If you can find that one, that movie, and tell me its title, I would really like to watch that one again.
Is it about enlisting during World War II?
No.
Because if you desert, you would get shot.
No, it's a high-tech company.
Okay. Sounds like a Black Mirror type of concept. The White Vault, like Jumpy Jasmine says, maybe?
Sorry, what was that?
Jumpy Jasmine says it might be called The White Vault, maybe?
No, that doesn't... Cube is a good movie, yes. But that is gory.
Yeah, see, I still haven't seen Square.
You know what? I don't rate Square. Maybe you should just watch Cube instead. Square was, an ego project.
The first time, I don't know if you know this, there's a sequel to Cube called Hypercube.
I have heard of that. I have watched a bit of it and then just went, no.
The first time I ever saw Hypercube was also the first time I ever saw one of the new cheap smart TVs.
Mm-hmm.
And so the movie is playing, and the smart TV superimposes a sports car driving across the bottom of the screen, and like a little like tape with words that says, such and such car dealership, blah blah blah, off sports cars all weekend. And like one of the guys is just like, yeah, just like the director intended. It's like, oh my god, what? Just putting ads on top of everything. Okay, is the name of the film Exam?
Oh, it might be. It might be.
Jumpy
the movie
Jasmine.
Was just called Exam. Yeah. I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
And I am aware that I am sometimes not the intended target for a lot of horror movies. Mm-hmm. The psychological ones get me way more than the gore ones. I think that's true. I think that's true for me as well, which is why I enjoy them so much. Because gore is just gore. Mm-hmm. Psychological stuff is like, well, how would I react in that situation?
Oh, have you seen Malignant yet?
No, I haven't.
Oh, that's another one that you got to go in blind on. But...
Okay, put it on the list.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think. People are like, Joe, you previously recommended these other movies blind, and I enjoyed them. And one of them was Everything Everywhere at Once. I told people to go in blind on. That one's not a horror movie, although there are arguably some.
There's a little bit of gore in that one, but not much.
Yeah.
But that one's well worth it. If you like weird things.
Yeah, if you want something weird, Everything Everywhere at Once.
Weird but good, because you can get weird just for the sake of being weird.
Yeah, which is not. They earn it.
Why is my voice coming out twice? It's not. That's probably you.
You probably have two windows open. What's that person's name? Supervisor 2 tabs over here. I was gonna say if their name is Johnny, they would be Johnny Two Tabs.
No, I had got the joke. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it
okay. It
takes a
happens.
while to do well-researched humor.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, the creepy mental ones are terrifying, whereas gore is just murder, and it's just like, you know, I kind of like the gore as well. Like I just like horror because I don't know, I just like the subversive kind of messagey horror rather than the I'm just here to bathe in your blood, which is a different kind of enjoyment.
Yeah, I used to really like stuff like Black Mirror, which is arguably like psychological tech horror in a lot of ways. But like that show is just so depressing that like by 2016 I was like, nope, the world's too broken for this. I cannot watch this stuff in my free time anymore. I need to preserve that shred of my sanity.
Which is fair.
Yeah, it's like, oh, too close to home.
I'm done here.
Yeah.
I think maybe we...
Trying to figure out how to extend this. Sure. Like, I'm thinking, like, having me trying to explain this to Cub, with this being, like, the speech balloon and Cub being confused would be good. But I haven't done enough, like, sketches of the hermits to be able to, like, do stuff like that on the fly.
Fair. Fair.
Also, I think I need to update my Minecraft skin now that I've shaved.
Possibly. I can do gore, but not to the level of, like, Saw or the Hostel series. I'm not a big fan of Hostel. I kind of like the first Saw, but not the series of it.
Saw gets, like, super weird in good ways. Have you watched several of the sequels?
I've watched a few of them. It's not really my...
The thing I found interesting was that, like, as the movies go on, it turns out that, like, several of them were happening simultaneously. Where you get the impression that this guy is just, like, a serial killer if you're watching the movies. But then when you get to one of them, it's like, nope, he's a parallel killer. This is, like, he's running all of these different murder scenarios simultaneously. And, like, there's, like, weird interactions between them that bridge the different movies. And, like, it's, I don't know. I haven't seen it for, like, 13 years, so I might be misremembering it. But I remember thinking, like, that was an interesting narrative choice.
Yeah,
but I
can see that.
I don't know which one that was where they started bridging them like that. But Snuffles the Conqueror says Black Mirror. Now I'll skip it. Wait for the real life adaptation. Should be out in 2 to 3 years. Yeah, that's the disappointing or depressing part about Black Mirror.
Zombies aren't horror; they're educational documentary. True. Thank you, Pelu, for the biddies, and Foine. Thank you for the biddies.
Yeah, the reason they stopped making Black Mirror was kind of like this same problem House of Cards ran into, where it's like the political like the show is supposed to be like a what if things were this much worse, but then like real life kept being worse than the scenario in the show by the time the episode came out. And so then everybody's just like, well, that was underwhelming. Like, womp womp. You can't keep up at that point.
No, that's fair. It is a dotted journal. You are correct. Can't do horror, not horror or paranormal. Like, horror in itself doesn't get me, but supernatural horror, like demons and stuff, that is where the movies that I really like come into play, but also the ones that actually physically terrify me, you know? Like things like The Exorcist and The Exorcism of Emily Rose. That got me. That was just mean. But I liked it.
I like The Exorcist. Yeah. Yeah, the paranormal like stuff, I don't know. It kind of seems kind like in some ways I find I like the Japanese kind of concepts of ghosts and demons. Like I don't
Mm-hmm.
it feels more frightening to me because like I guess like they kind of follow different rules than traditional Western spirits do.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe they're just as predictable to Japanese people as a lot of Western ghost stories are to Westerners, but
Mm-hmm.
because I'm jumping that culture fence,
Yeah.
like I'm watching the movie and I'm like, I think I know what's gonna happen next, and I'm wrong. Like, well, no, I'm just saying, like, I overthink a lot of stuff with narrative and structure and stuff, and so
Yeah.
it's refreshing to watch foreign films that follow different norms
Mm-hmm.
and be like, oh, this is cool. They went a totally different way than I was expecting.
No, I understand that. But yeah, I like knowing the rules.
Yeah.
So when they are subverted, it's more entertaining to me.
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
like vampires and stuff. There are rules to them, but there are there are movies that break those rules, and I find those more interesting.
So could you give me an example of one that didn't break the rules you found uninteresting, and one that was the example, like they nailed it by breaking the rules here?
Not off the top of my head. I'd have to go back.
Okay. No, that's fair.
Because JT is the answer. Mostly because the ones that subvert it, they're not like they're not very popular. So my brain just forgets them, forgets the titles pretty much immediately.
Oh, that's okay. We didn't come in here with a list of talking points and stuff. Like this is not a
No,
movie discussion show.
this isn't even like. I mean, if we did do a movie discussion show, I think what would probably happen is we would figure out the movies and then go away separately and watch the movies and take notes.
Yeah, or like I mean, we did actually do a recording once. We did it might have been ended up a 2-part episode of Joe and Cleo discuss horror movies, where we actually but we both came in with like a list of different movies we wanted to like suggest or recommend.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And so, but like for that one, we had the list ready. For this, we're just kind of spitballing because like I'm trying to think of vampire movies. What We Do in the Shadows, is a particularly funny one that I enjoyed. And they did a good job with the TV show too. Trying to think of like, I feel like there's a bunch of movies that just get made that I don't
Arterial
see.
_red says emote only.
Most movies that get made I don't see. So, like,
emote only chat. Everybody throw some hands. It's a command, not a suggestion. I do like the potato emoji. That's good. So May. When is my birthday this month? It's on a Tuesday. I'm so annoyed that because of the pandemic, I missed my Saturday birthday. My Saturday and Sunday birthday. Nah. Main Steve has resubscribed for 17 months. Thank you very much indeed.
if you give it 11 years, it'll come around again, Cleo.
I don't want it to. I want it now. I mean, arguably, it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
I work for myself. I can take whatever day off I want.
Yeah, but like, are your friends available is kind of a big thing.
I don't have friends. Don't be silly.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to assume.
To be honest, I'd much rather just take myself away somewhere and do a thing.
Uh-huh.
because believe it or not, like, my interests are not the mainstream for teachers.
Mm-hmm. Well, like, I mean, so, like, well, the thing is, it's like, there are certain birthday things I do every year, but that I don't want to talk about those, because then people would know where to find me next year on my birthday. So, never mind. Boy, yeah. Operational security. Woo. It's fun.
Yeah, no, I've had to deal with that myself recently.
I'm assuming that's not something you want to discuss further.
Not really. It was more of
Totally.
I get it.
Yeah.
You can take the day off if you want to. You can leave your friends behind because your friends didn't take the day off. And if they don't take the day off, then they ain't no friends of mine. I mean, arguably that's true. But as teachers, like most of my friends are teachers for some reason. Or at least in the educational field. They can't just take days off.
No.
So how does this work? My friend has been going on about bullet journaling a lot recently. Basically, it's you make your own kind of planner. I don't have my original, like this is my 2023 planner, obviously. But you set it up in a way that is conducive to your life and how you want to live. So, yeah. You thought I'd missed a stream? No, it's fine. And you can do an art project if you like. And apparently I do.
Yeah.
JT, I've decided why April got the thing, because it's a short month. And March is arguably longer because the C and the H take up more space. Fact. So plan your life seems nice. Honestly, the only reason why I think I bullet journal the way I do is because of this stream. Teachers are only friends with teachers because they know the suffering teachers experience. To a certain extent, yes. Whatever reason works for you is your journal. That's true. Yeah. Plus it has stickers and washi tape. So, bonus. How are you doing, Joe?
Good, good.
You sure?
I'm working on a space picture. I've got the Pillars of Creation James Webb photo up, and I'm just kind of sketching it out a little.
I understand.
So, yeah, that's... Yeah, we had talked about trying to wrap up at around 10:30.
Yeah,
or
so
I
half
guess
an
a
hour.
half hour from now. But, yeah, if you hit a wall, like I said, I'm like going through filing cabinets, ripping apart my apartment, trying to get all this immigration paperwork stuff ready. So,
if you need to go, Joe, go.
Well, I've also been doing that extensively, so I also need a break. Like, I'm saying I'm good either way. Like,
look, I will finish out June, and then we can call it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that sounds good. Anytime between now and 10:30, I'm good.
Okay. Well, I will finish out June, which is just writing in like 30 numbers, and then we can call it.
Yeah. Excellent.
And then you can go and look through some filing cabinets some more.
Woo, filing cabinets.
I'm sure you are thrilled.
Oh yeah. It's my favorite part of being in love is the paperwork.
That's a little dark, but sure.
What's that is wrong?
5, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. I'm done, Joe. I'm done.
Are you actually done?
Well,
Alright.
I'm done with June, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I said I was just writing out numbers. I was just trying to make things pretty. It's
Oh,
a planner
okay.
for ADHD people. Kind of, yeah. I mean, I would say this one isn't because I'm not ADHD. it's beneficial for people who don't do well with standard planners. Yes, that one I will go with. Okay, guys, I'm going to say goodbye to Joe. Goodbye, Joe.
Bye, Cleo. We'll break into our own streams and then do our raids.
Yep.
Catch you later. It was fun.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, we're out. Cleo seems more OCD. I'm not OCD. I am not. I have my specific mental disorder is anxiety. I have a generalized anxiety disorder. Which is a whole lot better since I stopped working as a teacher. Weird, right? So yeah, I have a lot of anxiety behaviors. So yeah, like when you see OCD in me, I don't have OCD like at all. I do have anxiety. Some of those behaviors cross over a little bit. Part of my GAD is part why I decided not to go into teaching. Here's the thing. I didn't have GAD until workplace bullying occurred as a teacher. So, yeah. And it's never really gone away. Like, whilst the bullying stopped when I changed jobs, the bullying... Actually, no, the bullying didn't stop. The bullying came in a different way. It wasn't until I got to my last job, like the one before I quit to do this, where the bullying actually stopped. So, yeah, no, like, OCD tendencies can be coping mechanisms. They can be. I am, like I say, I'm a lot better. I do have the occasional anxiety meltdown, based on other people's behavior towards me, but, yeah. So, thank you. I'm fine. I am fine. And my life is a hell of a lot better now than it was. But I still have triggers. Fortunately, this job doesn't have a lot of them. It's only the bit where I have to deal with other people. And how they react, how they respond to me affects whether or not I have an anxiety meltdown. You're getting bullied. Well, not anymore. I've quit that job. That's the point. But yeah, no, it's one of those. It's like, sorry, I'm just going into it now. I don't mind talking about it. There are certain parts of this job that set off my anxiety, but not as many as you'd think. And a lot of the time, I mean, there are certain fans that set off my anxiety. Fans, loosely, the ones that don't actually give a toss. But most of the time I'm pretty good. Most of the time I'm amazing. So yeah. So I'm gonna go now that I've dumped that all on you. Like don't worry. It's just like I don't want to be in that place where I'm saying like mental illness should not have a stigma. It's being ill. It's being ill. Teaching is a tough job. Yeah, not 9 to 3. Teaching is a very tough job, and it doesn't help when there are people in positions of power who do not like you. Do we need to have a talk with Jev? Jev's not a problem. I don't have any problems with Jev. Jev's fine. Like I say, it's a lot of it is how my brain reacts to very reasonable stimuli that will set off my anxiety. So... so I have to train myself not to overreact. I'm not always successful. I do try, but it is what it is. We're good. Brain is an organ. People don't look down on you for having heart issues. No. But like, I try to be fairly open with it because it is, I think it's important that people recognise that, like, I look relatively normal on the outside. I sound pretty normal, but I have this issue. Have you tried meditating? I am not good with meditating. It actually, it is actually more likely to trigger an anxiety attack. I don't know why, but, you know. Anyway, let's see who I can raid. Don't tell me who I can raid, I will find it. Oh, I'm going to raid my other half, because my other half has apparently just started doing Death Stranding, apparently. And they are the only one on my raid channels now, so we'll go over to them. Being open about mental illness. Yeah, like, I try to be open about it, because if I'm not, then I'm saying it's something shameful, and I don't think it is something shameful. First rule of Depression Club, you always talk about Depression Club. Yeah, you know, like, talking about anxiety, talking about, I'm going to start that raid, is very important, because somebody in here is probably suffering silently. You do not need to. Talk about it. There are people there, and I will see you lot next time. Bye-bye.